Have you ever wondered what Jesus was doing before the world began? Maybe you know him as the Savior on the cross, the teacher on the mountain, or the baby in the manger. Maybe you've read about his miracles, his parables, and his resurrection. But have you ever stopped to ask, who was he before Genesis? Before the first ray of light pierced the darkness, before time even began ticking, where was Jesus? What was his name? And what was his role in the eternal story of God? What if I told you that before Adam ever walked in the garden, before the stars were hung in the heavens, Jesus already existed in glory, in mystery, and in power? What if I told you that he wasn't just waiting to come down as a man, but was already moving in the deep places of divine wisdom? That his presence wasn't born in Bethlehem, it was unveiled there. The truth is, Jesus didn't appear out of nowhere. He has always been eternal, radiant, hidden in the heart of God. And the Bible gives us glimpses, clues that tell us who he really was before anything was made. He was not just Jesus back then. He was the Word, the wisdom, the Lamb, the light, the glory. This is not just a story, it's a revelation. This is not just theology, it's divine mystery. And once you see it, you will never see Jesus the same way again. In this video, we're going deep into the scriptures to uncover what most people overlook, the stunning truth about Jesus before Genesis. And when we're done, you'll understand why he is the beginning before the beginning, and how knowing him in this way can deepen your awe, your worship, and your connection with the eternal King. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video. It helps spread this message of truth and hope. Leave a comment sharing what you've always wondered about Jesus before creation. And most importantly, share this with someone hungry to know more about who Jesus really is. Every Bible Stories video is created to help you go deeper in your faith, understand the Word, and encounter God like never before. May this message awaken something in your spirit, a reverence for the one who was and is to come. Before the mountains rose, before the oceans roared, before a single angel opened its wings, there was the Word. Not a sound, not a whisper, not a word spoken by lips of flesh, but a living Word, full of power and glory, resting beside God, yet being God. In the beginning, before the beginning we know, he was already there. The scriptures tell us gently, in the beginning, the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was there with God in the beginning. All things were made through him, and nothing was made without him. These are not just phrases, they are sacred doors. Through them, we glimpse a presence too eternal for time, too holy for names that come later. This Word did not come into being when the earth was formed. He did not begin when Adam opened his eyes. He was already alive in the heart of God, the very voice of God that brought all things into light. When God said, "Let there be light," it was not only sound, it was him, the Word moving forward, shaping the void with beauty. Every star that burns, every river that flows, every creature that breathes was born from the movement of the Word. Through the Word, God made all things, and the Word held them together with invisible strength, unseen yet always present. He was not far. He was not hidden. He was the one through whom creation sang its first song. He was with God, not as a shadow or servant, but as one who shared in the fullness of divinity. The scriptures say, "The Word became a man and lived among us." We saw his divine greatness, the greatness that belongs to the only Son of the Father. But long before he was called Son on earth, he was the radiance of the Father's glory. No eye had seen him, yet all of creation bore his touch. He was not just beside God, he was God. And yet, he chose to remain close, humble, waiting for the time when the Word would step into flesh and be born beneath stars he himself had made. The prophet Isaiah once cried, "The grass dies and the flowers fall, but the word of our God will live forever." This was not just a promise of written words, it was a mystery about a person. The Word lives, the Word breathes, the Word moves. He does not change, he does not grow old. And even when the earth is shaken and the skies fall away, the word will still stand, because he is eternal. He is not merely speech, he is the living expression of God's heart. When God desires to be known, the word steps forward, revealing what eyes cannot see and what thoughts cannot grasp. In the book of Psalms we are told, "By the word of the Lord the heavens were made, and by the breath of his mouth all the stars." That breath was not air, it was life. The word carried it, formed it, flung it across the skies. The stars heard him and obeyed. The seas listened and knew their boundaries. The darkness fled before him, and light ran to meet him. He did not shout, he did not struggle. With peace and order, the word moved, and all things responded. Even the ancient prophets, though they did not yet know his name, spoke of the one who would come, the servant, the branch, the root of Jesse. They spoke because the word stirred within them. As it is written, long ago God spoke to our ancestors through the prophets, but now he has spoken to us through his Son. The Son reflects God's glory, and he shows exactly what God is like. But before he was the Son known to us, he was already the Word in the heavens, waiting, watching, working unseen in the silence before time. This Word is not distant, he is near, and he was never created. He does not begin at Bethlehem. He was already present before the foundation of the world. He does not grow into wisdom. He is wisdom. He does not borrow glory. He is the glory. He did not come to exist. He has always existed, and through him, all things find their meaning. The Word is not a part of God's plan. The Word is the plan, the voice, the heart, the fullness of the one who was, who is, and who is yet to come. And yet, before a single stone was laid upon the earth, before the light first broke through the deep, before man was formed from dust, he was already the Lamb. Not a lamb that would one day be chosen, but a lamb already given. Not slain in time, but slain in eternity. This mystery reaches farther than human thought, for the scriptures gently unfold. The Lamb was killed before the world was made. It is not a symbol, nor a future plan. It is a heavenly reality that stood firm long before the first sin ever reached the garden. In the silence before creation, the Lamb already bore the wounds. He was not forced, nor was he surprised. His surrender was not a reaction. It was the original design of love. In the secret counsel of the Almighty, before the world opened its eyes, there was a sacrifice that echoed through eternity. He was chosen before the world was created, but he was shown to the world in these last times for you. The Father did not look for another. The angels did not cry out to stop it. The Lamb was prepared, perfect, without blemish, and entirely willing. His blood was not spilled, it was offered. Even before Adam stood upright in the garden, the Lamb had already laid himself down in glory. Even before the tree of the knowledge of good and evil grew from the ground, the shadow of another tree, the cross, was already present in the heart of God. This was not punishment. This was not desperation. This was love, so deep and holy, it was woven into the fabric of the universe. Every star, every breath of wind, every heartbeat carried the hidden song of the Lamb who had already surrendered himself in the realm where time does not flow. In the book of Revelation, it is written, "Then I saw a lamb standing in the center of the throne. He looked as if he had been killed. And yet he stood, not defeated, not silenced, but alive with the power of eternal sacrifice. This lamb is not weak. He is not pitied. He is worshipped by angels and elders in all creation. His wounds are not scars, they are glory. His death was not an end. It was a beginning older than time. Before pain existed, the Lamb had already chosen to bear it. Before sin entered, he had already overcome it. When the Israelites painted lamb's blood on their doorposts, they echoed a truth that stretched far beyond Egypt. The Passover was not the first time the Lamb saved, it was only a reflection. Long before Moses stood with staff in hand, The blood of the true Lamb had already spoken mercy into the eternal heavens. Christ is our Passover Lamb who has been sacrificed for us. But even then, he was not waiting to be chosen. He had already given himself before the world had any need for saving. The prophets did not fully know him, yet their voices trembled with his truth. Isaiah saw him dimly and said, "He was like a lamb being led to be killed. He was quiet, as a sheep is quiet while its wool is being cut. He never opened his mouth." These were not just future sufferings. These were ancient wounds, already known, already accepted, already part of who he was before time touched the dust. This lamb did not lose his life. He gave it, again and again, beyond the grasp of human calendars. He is not only the King. He is not only the Word. He is the Lamb, eternal and holy, whose sacrifice did not begin on a hill called Calvary. It began before mountains rose, before Eden's gates opened, before the serpent spoke. He was already carrying the weight, already offering himself, not for glory, not for reward, but because he is love. And love, in its purest form, gives all before anything is asked. And as the eternal Lamb stood before time, already slain in the silence of divine purpose, something deeper still shimmered through his being. He was wisdom itself, walking, breathing, and alive. Not wisdom like men seek, nor knowledge built from study and thought, but a holy presence that existed before all things. The scriptures whisper it softly. Before the world began, I was appointed. Before the oceans, before the mountains, before the first dust of the earth, I was there. He did not learn wisdom. He did not receive it. He was wisdom, the very mind and heart of God in person. This wisdom was not hidden away in silence. She cried aloud at the gates of creation, calling with a voice that shaped galaxies and lit stars. I was there when he set the limits for the sea, when he made the clouds above and fixed the springs deep in the earth. Every boundary, every layer of sky, every law of nature rose from the counsel of wisdom. This was not a tool in God's hand. It was his own Son, present, shaping, establishing, rejoicing in the works of his Father. He was not only with God, he was God, moving as the very breath of divine thought, painting glory into existence. In the hidden book of Proverbs, this wisdom speaks like one who remembers the beginning. I was beside him like a master workman. I was his daily delight, rejoicing before him always. These are not poetic lines. They are memories of one who stood beside the Ancient of Days, not as a servant, but as his equal joy. His presence was the pleasure of the Father. His thoughts were not separate. They were God's own expression, robed in purity, filled with light. He did not discover truth. He was the truth that gave birth to all discovery. This is why the apostle would later write, "Christ is the power of God and the wisdom of God." Not symbolically, not partially, but fully and forever. Before Bethlehem, before the manger, before he took on flesh, he existed as wisdom, unshakable, radiant, and complete. He was the answer before any question was asked, the counsel before any confusion existed, the light before the first morning rose. He was not hidden in shadows. He was the light that revealed all things hidden. No prophet ever held the fullness of wisdom. No priest ever carried its weight, but in him it lived bodily. All the treasures of wisdom and knowledge are hidden in him. Not scattered, not divided, but wrapped in one holy person. Even when he walked the earth, men were astonished, not just by his miracles, but by his words. They said, "Where did this man get such wisdom?" They did not know they were hearing the same voice that ordered the deep, the same voice that taught the moon its course, the same voice that stood beside the Father when all was nothing. He was not wise like Solomon. He was the one who gave Solomon his understanding. When he spoke in parables, he was not hiding truth. He was unveiling the ancient voice of wisdom that had spoken before languages existed. Even his silence was full of meaning. Even his questions uncovered the depths of the soul. He was not quoting the law. He was the author of it, and the reason it held weight. "One greater than Solomon is here," he said. And though many did not understand, the heavens already knew. So, he stood, not only as the Word, not only as the Lamb, but as wisdom made flesh. Not a thought, not a force, but a person who walked among us, still carrying the voice that had once set the stars in motion. His ways are still higher, his thoughts are still perfect, and those who seek him do not gain answers, they gain him. For he is not the path to wisdom. He is the wisdom to whom all paths must bend. And yet, wisdom did not exist alone. He was not a distant mind, floating above the waters of creation. He was the Son, forever near, forever one with the Father, yet not the Father. The mystery deepens, not with confusion, but with wonder. Before time had a name, before angels bowed, there was a holy nearness, unbroken, unshaken, untouched by beginnings, a love so perfect, so full, that it needed no starting point. He did not become the Son. He was the Son, always with the Father, always in him, always from him, never divided. Before the world was made, "Father, you loved me," he would later pray, not remembering a time, but revealing an unending truth. This fellowship was not silence, it was joy, it was delight. The Son did not wait for creation to feel communion. He was already in it, held in the heart of the Father, glowing with shared glory. "Father, give me the glory I had with you before the world was made." This was not borrowed light. It was a shared flame, a divine dance that no creature had ever seen. Even in eternity past, before the heavens were stretched, the Son was not alone. He was loved, not as a servant, but as a Son, eternal, uncreated, forever in the Father's arms. The Spirit of God, too, hovered in this mystery. Three, yet one. The Father was never without the Son, and the Son never without the Spirit. But the Son alone carried the name of Son, not by birth and time, but by nature from eternity. When John wrote, "In the beginning the Word was with God," he chose a word deeper than presence. It meant facing, turning toward, gazing upon. The Son was with the Father, like two flames looking into each other forever. Their oneness was not sameness. It was perfect union, without confusion, without division, full of affection, full of giving and receiving. The prophets saw glimpses, but never the full beauty. Moses heard the voice, but could not see the face. Yet the Son had always seen the Father. No one has ever seen God, but the only Son, who is close to the Father's heart, has shown us what God is like. Close to his heart. This was not closeness of distance, but closeness of being. The word used means he was pressed to the chest, lying in the bosom of the Father, breathing in his love, wrapped in his nearness, forever at rest. This eternal fellowship did not begin in a cradle. The manger was only the curtain pulled back. The fellowship had always been there, complete, joyful, full of unspoken love. This is why he spoke with such authority. He did not guess the will of the Father. He knew it. "I do only what I see the Father doing." Because he had always seen. He had never been outside the gaze, never outside the presence. He did not discover the Father. He had always been with him. Even in the act of creating, the Son stood in fellowship. "Let us make man in our image." Who was the us, but the divine communion of Father, Son, and Spirit? He was not a tool in the hand of the Maker. He was the Son beside him, breathing with the same breath, thinking with the same mind, loving with the same heart. And in the end, when the Son would return to the Father, he said, "I am going back to the one who sent me." Not just to a throne, but to a fellowship he had never truly left. This was the Son before the world began, alive in the Father's embrace, speaking not just words, but love, not just unity, but eternal relationship. In him, the mystery of closeness is made visible, not through distance bridged, but through oneness always known. To gaze upon the Son is to look into the face of the Father's delight. And though the world did not know him, heaven always had. But even in that holy fellowship, something remained hidden. Something radiant, yet veiled. The Son, who was eternally held in the Father's embrace, was also the light that had not yet been revealed. Not the sun, nor the stars, nor the burning lamps of angels. This light was not made. It was him. The glory of the unseen God, unleashed not in rays, but in presence. He was not reflecting light. He was light itself. The kind that has no shadow, no origin, no flicker. A light untouched by time, waiting in silence to shine into a world still unformed and unaware. The first pages of Scripture echo this mystery with a whisper. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. But this light came before the sun, before any lamp of heaven. It was the first thing spoken, but it was not the first thing born. That light was only a signpost, a shadow of the light that was already there before time answered its name. He was the light of all men, waiting to enter the story. Not with fire, but with glory. Not with brightness alone, but with life. John would later uncover the veil. The true light was coming into the world. The light that gives light to all people. It had not yet stepped into human eyes, but it was never absent. In the deep silence of eternity, that light was ready. Not waiting passively, but pulsing with divine purpose. He would later say, "I am the light of the world. If you follow me, you will not live in darkness." Yet this was not a new identity. It was an ancient unveiling. The light had always been. It had only now been seen. The prophets longed for him. Isaiah cried, "The people who live in darkness will see a great light." But the light was not born when the world first saw him. He was already alive before there were eyes to see or hearts to believe. Hidden, not because he was absent, but because the time of his revealing had not come. Even the darkness could not escape him. For where he is, no shadow can hide. He was not shaped by creation. Creation was shaped by him. The light that lit up the path of all things was quietly pulsing behind the veil of time. The heavens declared glory, but the true light was greater. It was not set in the sky, but set in the heart of eternity. It had no rising and no setting. The Lamb would later shine in the New Jerusalem, not as a star among many, but as the very lamp of God. The city does not need the sun or the moon to shine on it. The glory of God is its light, and the Lamb is the lamp. This was not a future promise alone. It was an ancient truth waiting to be seen. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The darkness could not understand it, could not stop it, could not change it. He was light before light was needed. He was light before time was measured. And even when he stepped into the world did not know him. But that did not dim his brilliance. The light was not dependent on recognition. He shone because he is, not because he was welcomed. So he stood, before the world knew him, as the light, complete, holy, untouched. A light not born of flame or star, but of the very being of God. And when the time came, that light would break through the curtain, not to blind, but to awaken, not to scorch, but to reveal, and the darkness would tremble, not because it had never seen light, but because it had never seen him. He was before all things, and in him all things hold together. He was the Word, the Lamb, the Wisdom, the Sun, and the Light, all before time, before matter, before breath. His name was not given by man, nor shaped by earth. He was called by a name known only to heaven, faithful and true, the image of the invisible God, the one who was, who is, and who is to come. Before he was called Jesus in Bethlehem, he was the I Am, the Eternal One, the radiance of God's glory, the first and the last. In the secret chambers of eternity, he was known as the Word, for he was God, and was with God, and there never was a moment when he was not. This is who Jesus truly was before the foundation of the world, eternal, uncreated, and forever holy. As we conclude, let us have this prayer. Eternal Father, we come before you in awe, humbled by the mystery of your Son, who was with you before time began, the Word who spoke all things into being, the Lamb who gave himself before the world ever fell, the wisdom who shaped creation with joy, the Son who dwelled forever in your embrace, and the light that darkness could never overcome. Open our hearts to know him more, not only as the man who walked the earth, but as the one who was always with you, full of glory, truth, and grace. Let this revelation awaken in us a deeper worship, a holy fear, and a longing to walk in his light. We bless the name above all names, Jesus, who always was, who now is, and who forever shall be. Amen. If this message has touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to experience the profound truths of who Jesus truly is. Drop a comment below and let us know which revelation about his eternal nature has moved you the most. Together, let's spread the life-transforming power of the gospel and its deep significance. Let's invite others to encounter the full wonder of who Jesus was, is, and will always be.